If you are getting into your personal finances and you're starting to get excited about how things are moving and you're figuring out your income, your expenses, you're kind of planning for the future, it can be really great until or unless your partner isn't on board. So what do you do about that? In this video, I'm going to show you. Hey, I'm Lindsay. I am a financial therapist. I primarily work with women and couples, so this is certainly an issue that comes up a lot. What tends to happen in partnerships like this is that one person reads a couple of books or finds a couple of blogs and gets so excited about the money stuff, but they don't really give their partner a chance to catch up or get on board. And what ends up happening is this kind of dynamic where one person kind of feels like they're lecturing and they're in charge, and the other person feels belittled. So that's not good for either person. So what do you do if you want to get your partner on board so that you can manage your money together, achieve your goals together, save together, spend together? The reality is it's going to be tricky. You have to set aside time to make sure that you can talk to your partner without judgment and just open up that dialogue. If you haven't seen my video on how to have a money date, that might be a good starting point. I tell you how to kind of carve out time to make sure that you're on the same page. One good way to start it is by owning your own stuff first. So starting out by saying something like, I know I've been talking a lot about, budgeting and about retirement, and I realized that in my excitement, I might have kind of overdone it, and I wanted to check in with you and see how it feels for you when I'm talking about that stuff or when I want you to read a blog post. Once you have an idea of how they feel, then you have a better idea of how to move forward. For some people, they might feel like dumb. I hear that a lot. They don't get money, they don't understand it, so they just kind of take a back seat. For other people, they might get defensive. As I mentioned earlier, there might be a little bit of that dynamic of one person being in charge and the other person kind of laying back, and that doesn't feel good. But the other thing is just like money terms in general can feel kind of gross to people. It's not uncommon that people say things like, ugh, when I hear the word budget, all I can think about is like going on a diet or being really restricted. For other people, when they say things like, oh, I want to invest in retirement, their partner might hear, oh, that's like thinking about us getting old and I don't want to think about that. So making sure that you can check in with your partner and say, hey, are there certain things that I'm talking about or I've been bringing up that really kind of sit wrong with you or that you'd like to talk about? So making sure that you give them the opportunity again to address if there's any words there that aren't super great for them. The other thing is if you don't have your partner on board, it's really hard to achieve your financial goals. So this question can be a little bit uncomfortable, but it's really important to answer together. And that is, if we don't change anything, what happens financially in 5 years for us, in 10 years for us? If we, let's say, don't get our spending under control, if we don't get out of our credit card debt, if we keep living the lifestyle that we're living, what does that mean for us in 5 years or in 10 years? And sometimes that can help just put a little bit of perspective on it. Like, yeah, setting aside $50 a month probably doesn't sound super great right now, but if you think about what that money might look like in 5 years or 10 years and what you might be able to do with it, that might be a way for you to kind of get your partner on board. And make sure that they know that you're on the team together. Maybe during this conversation, what you find out is that they don't mind maybe bill paying, but kind of keeping track of credit scores or kind of keeping track of the big picture stuff is really hard for them. So maybe you learn that you're more of the long-term goal planner and they are more of the short-term day-to-day person, and that works out really well for you guys. So again, making sure that you're playing to each other's strengths so you guys can be on the same team to achieve your financial goals together. If you have other tips about how to get your partner on board, I'd love to hear them. Let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.